Supreme Court has, through this case, settled a lot of issues that will come before ongoing tribunals and courts. And that was why, as INEC, we tendered the beavers machines for the first time in Nigeria. So that today, that is the way to go.
Celebrations by the Adeleke camp trailed the outcome of the case. Godfrey Eshamoge, Arise News.
Victory, as they said, is very sweet. That is the situation of Mr. Adeleke, the governor of Osun State. And there is a lot of tension in Tinubu's camp because P2B's case is very, very similar to Adeleke's case. And they are imagining what is going to happen at the Supreme Court.
This week, after the Supreme Court upheld the election of Ademola Adeleke of People's Democratic Party as governor. It was a unanimous judgment and effectively sealed the defeat of former Governor Gboyega Oyetola and his All Progressives Congress Party. Arise correspondent Godfrey Eshamoge was there and our report.
The race for the Osun State Government House has been a long-drawn legal battle, which was bound to end at the Supreme Court, with a 5-member panel headed by Justice John Okoro assigned the task of deciding the case. In a unanimous judgment delivered by Justice Emmanuel Agim, the Apex Court held that Oyetola, the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC, failed to prove allegations of improper accreditation of voters and overvoting in 744 polling units across the 10 local government areas of the state. He added that the case lacked merit because of lack of verifiable evidence to establish the allegations. The Apex Court stated that to prove allegations of overvoting, the Form EC8A, BVAS, and voter register are required, items that were not presented by the appellant. It faulted the Osun State Election Petition Tribunal for failing to determine the preliminary objection against its jurisdiction on various issues, adding that it ended up denying respondents their right of fair hearing. The 5-member Apex Court panel further stated that the 2 witnesses brought by Oyetola and the APC did not help their case either, adding that their witness testimonies were merely hearsay evidence. Following the decision of the Supreme Court on the Osun governorship election case, counsels in the matter expressed relief.
You need the voters register, you need the EC8A, you need the difference about the 3 of them. They are the trinity that can prove overvoting.
They must go together.
So they must go together. So today we are very happy because it has thrown more light into the electoral jurisprudence and guidance for not only lawyers and judges, but for the Nigerian community, so that they can understand how the system works. The Supreme Court has, through this case, settled a lot of issues that will come before ongoing tribunals and courts. And that was why, as INEC, we tendered the beavers machines for the first time in Nigeria. So that today, that is the way to go.
Celebrations by the Adeleke camp trailed the outcome of the case. Godfrey Eshamoge, Arise News.
Well, I mean, a lot of dancing out there in Osun State. I mean, it should be expected given the fact that it's a dancing senator who's now a dancing governor. I think it's the judgment is emphatic. Not many people will have been surprised because this gentleman has been consistent in showing that for this election, I won, and I won convincingly. And you could gauge the mood, you know, of the entire Osun State, you know, almost, that it will have been a kind of robbery, you know, and injustice if the appeal court and the Supreme Court eventually, you know, had decided otherwise. And I like the fact that the APC have said, hey, you now have an opportunity, you know, to proceed and everything. It's is intriguing, is interesting. If you remember that 4 years ago, when Oyetola was voted in as governor, the margin was very small. And at that time, the former governor, Adeleke, was still in the same camp with Oyetola, even though Oyetola, as we know, was not his choice. So Adeleke went to court, won at the tribunal level, but lost at the appeal court, and the Supreme Court. Fast forward to 4 years later, Oyetola took him to the tribunal, won at the tribunal, just like Adeleke won, 4 years ago. But of course, he lost at the appeal and the Supreme Court. So it's a kind of a deja vu of the same way that he couldn't get to office 4 years ago is now the same way that he has now been proclaimed as governor. I think this is important. Yes, he has now crossed all the legal hurdles. It is now for the Osun people to see what stuff Adeleke is made of. He's from an important family in Ede, in Osun State. His elder brother, of course, Davido's father, stupendously rich and very influential. And of course, a successful banker, economist, somebody who knows what it will require to turn Osun State around. Yes. And of course, we will expect that he will give the right counsel and guidance to his younger brother. If you listen to his acceptance, his speech after the judgment, the first person that he expressed gratitude to, was his elder brother. So a lot in stock for Osun people. Let's see that it's not just about dancing and jogging, in the mornings and everything, and doing the victory sign almost every time. What can he do? People have said that his first 100 days was spectacular. He cleared all the arrests, and things like that. Absolutely, and he seems to be putting things in order. I mean, you wouldn't say that Oyetola was a bad governor. Maybe his politics was not right. Maybe people voted not necessarily against him, but against what they perceived that he represented, and of course the Adeleke, factor. But hey, a new governor is there. PDP has demonstrated capacity in Osun State. We can only wish Governor Adeleke all the best, and that he should prove his critics wrong, that he's just a guy who likes to have fun. Show that you've got capacity and that you can turn the fortunes of Osun State around.
Definitely. Congratulations to him. And, just to, reasserting what you said, you could see residents on that VT, there are hundreds trooping onto the streets of, Shogbo and Ede and other major towns in Osun State after, following the Supreme Court's affirmation of him as winner of the July 16 governorship election. And I was looking at this tweet here that Davido put out yesterday, and he said, we go shock them like high tension. I mean, definitely everybody was really looking forward to seeing what this the judgment was going to be. And this in itself, the reaction really just puts back the trust in the judicial system, the fact that they were able to see to the end. And like you've said, at this point, we are celebrating the win, but what is really important is what the next 4 years is going to mean for the people of Osun State. Well, congratulations to Governor Adeleke, who, of course, is probably in a really high spirits at the moment. But expectedly, Governor Adeleke, of course, seized the moment to commend the Supreme Court for validating his victory. He called the judgment historic and a landmark development in the history of Osun politics. At his country home in Ede shortly after the visit, Adeleke pledged that his administration would ramp up the implementation of its 5-point agenda and focus on grassroots development and infrastructure.
Government is people's government. They ain't seen nothing yet. We have a lot of goodies in stock for our lovely Osun people. Even though there was little distraction, we were focused. You journalists can testify to our 100 days in office. I mean, you have seen it all. You went with me, you worked with me, you saw what we have done. And work is still going, despite the fact of little distraction. Now there's no distraction again. We have all our agenda, our 5-point agenda in the making. You just wait.
and see. My message is that there's no winner, there's no vanquish. So everybody should come together now that everything is over now. Let's come together and work together and make us great again.
I thank God Almighty, because one with God is a majority. We thank God because from the onset we have put our trust in the Lord. And I want to thank God that He did not put us to shame.
Not surprising, because it is expected, a judgment that is expected, because anybody that believes in the rule of law and equity, justice, will know that the judgment should go that way.